Hi everyone, good morning. This is RAMOLAD1, and I'm just checking in today at RAMOLAD1 reports to leave a little note. This is also a bit of a test because I'm working on my computer this morning and trying to see what's working and what's not. Those of you who watch my videos will know or will be aware that I haven't been actually putting out any podcasts lately, and that's for a couple of reasons. One is I have been working on some articles, some of which you're seeing on my website, The Everyday Concerned Citizen. But I'm also working on just getting my computer up to speed again. I've been cyber hacked and cyber sabotaged so extremely the last 2 to 3 weeks. My laptop was crashed, I think, with malicious malware of some kind, a Trojan of some kind that totally knocked out my hard drive, which then got encrypted apparently from subsequent diagnostics, and at this point I'm still trying to recover data from it. But I've also sent it off back to Dell to try to get it fixed because it's still under warranty. That's a really good laptop, and I've been using it for podcasts, so I'm waiting for it to come back. And then the desktop that I started using, which is my daughter's desktop, old desktop, but has a decent amount of gig hard drive, not as much RAM, but I'm still using it. I'm using it for this recording now, and it's pretty okay for podcasts. I went and got a camera for it and a new headset and so forth, and so it's been working okay. But I think because I have USB connections to the mouse, to the keyboard, etc., it's been more accessible to hackers from the outside, and so it's been freezing up on me as well. And so I've been going back and forth with tech support. I'm now signed up with the tech support service, and I literally call them every other day because something or the other is going on with my computer. So, they've been helping me, and I'm actually running a repair utility as we speak because I'm preparing to do a podcast today and hoping that I can fix the computer before I get to it. So that's really why I've been off air for a while, not because I've stopped what I'm doing. I am in no way stopping what I'm doing. I'm continuing my podcast and continuing all of my journalism exactly as I've been intending and do intend and continue to intend. And, I'm planning to, in fact, explore new ways of expanding my journalism. And I will continue to do that because I think the hour is late and the need is extreme. And people like me who are willing to stick our faces on camera and put our voices out there need to step forward in droves rather than in single digits and do exactly what we are doing, which is putting information out for the world at large. So the other thing I wanted to talk about really today is about what's going on with all the QAnon revelations, all of the little bits of information we're getting from all over the net about how there are certain white hats in operation. They're working with the Trump administration kind of secretly behind the scenes. They're the guys in the military and the intelligence agencies who are working to free America from the hold of the deep state and so on and so forth. All of the wonderfully encouraging and reassuring and supportive information that is out there. I'm highly skeptical of all of it. And I'll tell you the reason. The reason is if QAnon was indeed publishing entirely on behalf of humanity and entirely on behalf of the real people in old media who are struggling to report the truth, and everybody who's targeted, and literally everybody in America is targeted, everybody in Europe is targeted. We're all being rained on with the aerosols, remember. The nanotech is hitting our brains, and central nervous systems, each and every one of us. So if all of this is absolutely legit, QAnon recently put out some information mentioning the date 3/11. That's 2 days away. Now, mentioning a date and suggesting massive routing of the villains, massive arrests, massive indictments, etc., etc. Well, if that were really the case, then you would see also a massive running away or a massive hiding, of these villains. These guys are going to be catching planes to their favorite hideouts. They're going to be taking the escalators down to their duns or their little holes in the ground. and they're going to be trying to flee if there were indeed some massive routing out, clean out operation in the works, with a date attached to it. But I invite you to look around and to look up in the sky and recognize that this is not happening. Those chemtrail planes are still zigzagging across the skies. They're still pouring down those, nanobots and neurodust and strontium and barium and lithium and whatnot, viruses, fungi, desiccated blood cells, anything and everything to produce Morgellons in our bodies, and nanobot wire us, because that is the intention that they're playing out. That is the technocrat intention. And what I'm saying merely is, it seems that it's continuing. It hasn't stopped. So the technocrats are still in power. They are still doing what they have been doing for a long time. The other thing is, anyone who is targeted, if you know anyone who's targeted, or if you are targeted, ask yourself, has this stopped? And I can assure you, in my case, it hasn't stopped. And when I drive out these days, I'm hit with massive co-interpol, lots of braking and flashing and hazardous driving, and cars parked funnily on the sidewalk and things like that. This morning, when I dropped my daughter off at school, I drove down the little side street where I dropped her off, which is just opposite the school, and then I take that route home. So as I was driving past, there's a van parked on the sidewalk just in front of me, and it's got Crown Corporation on the side. Now, it had the word Crown on it. There was a picture of a crown, and it was sort of set up as a utility kind of van, but with that concealed antenna on top, which is the long PVC pole antenna that's used on top of a lot of utility vans today. So that to me is a signal, along with all of the other parked cars and vans I've seen, that the electronic control grid, which includes parked cars and microwave emitters in parked cars, stealth antennas in parked cars, and when I say cars, I mean as well, minivans, vans, all of that stuff. So that scenario is still in place. I live in Quincy, Massachusetts. This is a suburb, sort of in the metropolitan area of Boston. And it's all over the place right here. So that has not stopped. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is, I think that all the noise that we're hearing about QAnon and massive change is wonderful, but it is not 100%. And it may just be one more aspect of this cabal's plan to create the sense of change, to create the sense of routes and cleanup operations and arrests and so forth, and then continue with what they're doing, but in a slightly modified form. In other words, I don't see the deep state stopping. On Thursday, when we did our Technogram Fighters Forum, we were heavily sabotaged. And when I published the 2 recent articles that I have published, I experienced massive cyber interference, both just before and after I published them. So I'm reporting all of this to let people know that targeting continues, the electronic control grid continues, microwave weapons are still being used in the populace, chemtrails are still raining down on us. So therefore, there is a great need for people who are aware about what's going on to start speaking up, to come forward, start doing podcasts, just as I'm doing, put information out there. Oh, by the way, remembering that YouTube is censoring people massively, like the Health Ranger, Alex Jones, Victoria's Liberta, so many people. They've taken out YouTube channels. So we need to set up backup channels. We need to create, we do need to create new platforms, but we need to find other platforms that can support our work currently and help us continue what we are doing. In other words, this entire scenario has helped cement for myself that I do need to continue what I'm doing. I do need to keep doing podcasts, keep doing interviews with people, keep talking about Agenda 21, keep talking about Agenda 2030 and what it's trying to do to the world. What's really coming down the pike, and what really is in place, I think, is a kind of globalist crown colony / Vatican / Zionist / Nazi operation against humanity. That's what's really playing out, and it's continuing. And because it's continuing, it behooves each and every one of us to continue working, to speak out, continue sharing information, and continue resisting. We need to find ways of effective and not merely effective, absolutely foolproof, absolutely 100% successful ways of resisting this onslaught. Because the onslaught is nothing but, what it's filtering down to, what it ultimately means for humanity. It's absolute takeover of humanity, absolute transhumanizing of humanity, and absolute control over the entire human population, the entire world. And because of that, it behooves each and every one of us to take action, and to be aware, get informed, spread information, and take action to resist in whatever brilliant, creative, always non-violent ways that we can, in order to truly rout out this criminality, the technocracy that's attempting to completely take over humanity, and truly move forward into a different era where humans can live in connectivity, in awareness, and expanded consciousness, and heading toward true evolution. What the technocrats are attempting is a massive AI-centric, cybernetic, which is melding of man and machine, artificial intelligence, roboticized, transhumanized, techno-evolution. That is not evolution. And all of us who resist it do need to figure out, how to move forward and stop it from happening. So just wanted to put this information out there. I think I'm going to have to go see if this recorded okay now. So thanks everyone for listening, and I'll be back soon. My podcast will be back, I promise, and my work will be back online. Thank you again. Bye-bye. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.